The 2022 Super League season is a little under a month away now, so it is time to get in some Super League predictions for the upcoming season. I am Oliver from Rugby League, in my opinion. In recent years, when I've done these Super League predictions, I've come out and said that I don't really watch too much Super League, that I've tried and I'm trying to get into it. Well, thanks to the help of my work as well, writing articles about Super League, I'd say I've probably got a better grasp of the competition and watched a lot more Super League in 2021 than I had in previous years. Does that mean I'm probably as well informed as your standard Super League watcher over in England, your diehard fan? No. There's still little bits and pieces I'm probably going to be leaving people scratching their heads with here, but I feel a fair bit more confident heading into this season. The only issue I've noticed with Super League is, though, on paper, it's very easy to tip the ladder at the start of the season, and you're probably not going to be far off other than a couple of places, but there always seems to be one team lower on the table who doesn't necessarily consistently stay up the ladder, who just has an amazing year. A couple of times we've seen them nearly win a comp, but that's the only issue here. So I guarantee one of the teams that I've got in the bottom half of the table probably going to finish top 6 and hell, maybe even top 4. But other than that, let's get into who, unfortunately, I think is going to be in that dreaded relegation position in 12th. I hate to do it with the recent announcement that the 2025 Rugby League World Cup will be taking place in France, and their dominant championship season last year, and how their French counterparts, the Catalans Dragons, came this close to winning a Super League title last year, and they won the Leaders' Shield. Unfortunately, though, Toulouse, I'm tipping you to go straight back down. It's just the business. There's not been too much transfer business going on. Well, there has been, but just no one who really jumps out at me necessarily. No one who I've really seen as a bit of a world beater in Super League in past seasons. And, I guess no overseas foreign talent either coming in to strengthen that side. Compare it to the Lee Centurion side of 2021, which, that side had a terrible season and got relegated, and it was pretty obvious early on in the year that they'd be getting relegated. I'd say they probably did some better business than this Toulouse Olympic side. So unfortunately, I am going to be tipping Toulouse to lose, no pun intended, and finish in that relegation spot. Who knows, maybe it's just me not knowing as much about the club and the players who they currently have, and some of the talent who might emerge as Super League bolters, I guess you could say, or dark horses, and they don't get relegated. But based off of what I've seen of them, the business that they've done, the team on paper right now, I've got... Okay, so just a heads up, these next 3 teams, it was quite hard for me to sort of position, so 11th to 9th, and realistically, I think these 3 teams could sort of finish in any order, but they're sort of going to be inconsequential to the Super League season. I don't think they're necessarily going to give anyone a fright at any point in the year. But in 11th, I have gone with the Salford City Red Devils, 2019 runners-up, of course, with Jackson Hastings playing for them. The big signing for this season has been Brodie Croft, who has underperformed at Brisbane the past couple of years. He was supposed to be their next big number 7, who would eventually lead them to a premiership after being released from Melbourne. Things aren't looking too good when you've been released from your team consecutively, not in consecutive seasons, but the reason why you've left your last 2 clubs is underperforming overall. That's not to say Brodie Croft doesn't have a future in rugby league. That's not to say he is a talented player. I really hope he can get it right at Salford and maybe have a similar story to Jackson Hastings back to the NRL. But unfortunately for now, he's just not proven it yet. A lot of this season is going to be lying on him. I like the signing of Akaloro as well, and I don't want to botch his name, but King Vuniwayaya from the Leeds Rhinos, Mark Sneed, who is an experienced Super League half, was so at Hull FC, is now going to Salford to see what he can do there. Should be a good bit of experience to put with Croft, but I don't see this team doing too much in the 2022 Super League season. In 10th, I have Wakefield, and Wakefield are a team that I really wanted to put higher because in the past couple of seasons, from what I watched the Super League, they've played an exciting brand of rugby league. they've also gone through periods where they've had really good runs of form, but have always seemed to finish lower on the table. I believe in 2020, when the competition stopped, they were on a little bit of a run. I think they were just outside of the top 6 with games in hand, but it obviously didn't work out for them once the competition resumed. And in 2021, they started the season really poor, but I think they were just losing games. Then they went on a bit of a run, a couple of upsets in there as well, but at the end of the day, it was just too late, and the runs of form were just too short, I guess you could say, and it didn't really turn out too well for Trinity in 2021. 2022, I can't really tip much different. They've got some good Super League experience from other clubs coming in, the likes of Lee Gaskell, Tom Lynham. Mason Leono's going to need a big year. Their leader, I guess you could say, in the halves. But other than that, I can't see Wakefield doing too much. As I said, I really wanted to put them higher. Wouldn't be surprised if they finished a little bit higher, but I've got them in 10th at the moment. In 9th place, I've gone with the Huddersfield Giants. A huge loss in Aiden Caesar. He really was their man. They've brought in Tuilala here from Salford, another former NRL player, to try and replace him, but I just don't think, as good as Lolohea is and as important as he was to Salford, I just don't think he can match what Aiden Caesar brought to Huddersfield. He, of course, moving on to Leeds. I like the signing, though, of Chris Hill, an experienced forward from Warrington. What does it all mean, though? Not much. They have a decent side as well, but I just don't think they've improved enough necessarily to make a top 6 push. Sort of last season and the year before, I think that was sort of their window under Aiden Caesar, where he was playing a really good season in 2020. I think he just missed out on Man of Steel. I think that was sort of their window there to, as I said before, teams sort of jump up and make that push sort of for the Super League title. I think that was sort of their window to maybe finish in a top 6, top 4 position and kind of make a run for the Super League title. But I think it's over now. I've got them in 9th, and I think this is sort of their ceiling. Like, if anything else, as I said, I was contemplating between them, Wakefield and Salford, who would be 9th, 10th and 11th. So I can't really see them finishing any higher. Maybe at a stretch 8th. But other than that, if I'm wrong, then they're probably going to be finishing a bit lower on the table. But for now, 9th. In 8th now, I've gone for one of the Hull teams. I believe it's the West Hull team of Hull FC. Man, I really hope I didn't botch that, otherwise I'm going to be copying it. But the team from West Hull, Hull FC, finishing 8th. Last year, I think that was their window to finish higher than they did to sort of make that Super League title push. I had high hopes of them. I think I had them 3rd or 4th, my latter predictions last year. They got a game away from the Super League Grand Final in 2020. I like Luke Gale coming in as a replacement for Mark Sneed. I think he can definitely match what Sneed brought to Hull FC for years. But other than that, not too many changes. Kane Evans comes over from the NRL, and as good as he was on his day maybe a couple of years ago, even fans over in England have probably seen what he's been up to in the NRL in 2021, and unfortunately, 2 separate occasions throwing punches, spending time on the sideline, suspended. Unfortunately, if he takes that over to Super League, he could end up being a little bit of a liability, but hopefully he can prove that tough sort of defensive groundwork, I guess you could say, for Hull FC that the rest of the team can build upon. But that's questionable based off of his 2021 for the Warriors in the NRL. So unfortunately, right now, Hull FC got you 8th. In 7th, we have the Castleford Tigers, who I think have been underperforming the past couple of years, especially ever since 2017, where they made the Super League Grand Final. I think they won the League Leaders' Shield as well. That expectation has been to contend for a Super League title, but they, in the past couple of years, have dropped off. I like the inclusions of Faramo and Fanua from Hull FC. 2 outside backs, big, intimidating. I like it, going for that feel. I also like Joe Westerman coming into the side as well from rivals Wakefield. Jake Mamo as well from Warrington. That Super League experience there. Not too much else I can say about this Castleford Tigers side. Matalia, Holmes leaving. Jesse Sanalafeo going to Featherston. They're losing a little bit in the middle, definitely, and I think that's sort of what's going to cost them. They could slip into 6th, but I think they just miss out on finals football this year. On to the top 6 now. So now I'm tipping the teams who I think will be playing finals in 2022. Starting off with a team who's usually always there, the Warrington Wolves. Now, if you're an NRL fan predominantly who is watching this video, to get an idea of who the Wolves are, they also wear blue and yellow, funnily enough. They're sort of the Parramatta Eels of Super League in terms of they've not won a comp for a very long time. They're sort of there. They're always sort of thereabouts, and sometimes their fans like to suggest it's their year at the start of seasons. But will it be their year this year? Well, I'm tipping them to just make the top 6. I don't think so. I think it's going to sort of be a standard Warrington year. You're sort of looking at 4th to 6th there. Maybe an early season surge like we saw in 2021, I believe, where they were sort of up near the top of the ladder. But overall, I think they finished 6th. Look, I like the Super League experience that they have brought into this side, most definitely. The likes of Joe Bullock, Greg Minikin from Hull KR, and Mataudia as well. That's Peter Mataudia. But the outs as well, they're losing sort of their foundation a bit in Blake Austin. Not to mention Jake Mamo as well, who's been there for a little while, and Sitaleki Akaloa, who's been there for a few years now. Sort of a bit of a changing of the guard, I guess you could say, there at Warrington. How will it affect them? Well, a little bit, but I do like the signings they're bringing in as well, so they sort of finish smack bang in the middle in 6th. On to 5th now, and it's the surprise packet of 2021. I guess they're sort of that team that made that jump that not too many people were expecting, at least not to the level that they did. It's the Robins. It's Hull Kingston Rovers, the team on the east side of Hull, but I do think they'll sort of sustain where they were in 2021. I don't think they'll necessarily jump up and surprise anyone and win their first Super League title, but I don't think they're going to sort of be relegation fodder like I think they've been seen as for probably the past decade or so before the 2021 season. A couple of losses, Greg Minikin and also Adam Quinlan to retirement, but you're also bringing in one of the most consistent Super League players of the past 3 years ever since he's joined Super League. He will go down in history as a St. Helens legend, also a very good player in the NRL. It is Lachlan Coote. I think it's an absolute coup that Hull Kingston Rovers have been able to grab him. Last year, they sort of assembled this side, a bit of an underrated side. Your Ryan Hall's coming back to form, for example, just getting together a solid side, the likes of Corbin Sims as well coming in. It's sort of the NRL talent they signed really gelled with the current squad that was already there, and they set a nice foundation that they've still pretty much got there. Adding Lachlan Coote to that will be amazing. Do I think it'll shoot them up the ladder or make them title contenders? Not really, but I've still got them in 5th. I like how Hull KR are looking for 2022. In 4th now, we have the defending league Leaders Shield winners and the 2021 Super League runners-up, the Catalans Dragons. I am tipping them to drop down a little bit. So much of the Catalans went through James Maloney last season, if that makes sense. So much of their play, he was so important to the team, not necessarily a one-man side, but geez, he took a bulk of the responsibility on. He made them play like an NRL side, at least in attack, and I don't think I've seen that in Super League for a while. It was really good to watch throughout the 2021 season. Does Mitchell Pearce bring that to the team? I don't know. Maybe he conforms a bit more of a Super League style. I can't see him really being that commanding. He's a decent ball-playing half, still got a good kicking game, but he's been way too injured the past 2 seasons for Newcastle. The last really good year was that purple patch that he had in the middle of 2019, but other than that, it's sort of just been your standard half. Not too many amazing games from Mitchell Pearce there. Dylan Napa as well didn't really meet expectations at the Bulldogs. Maybe it'll be a bit easier in Super League for him, who knows. And Tyrone May, let's just say, wasn't necessarily great at Penrith in 2021. We'll see how he goes partnering Pearce. That might take a bit of the pressure off of him to play more as a 6. Let's see how he goes. But the loss of James Maloney, in my opinion, is huge. They're still going to finish 4th. The signings they've made are still good, don't get me wrong, but I don't see them maintaining first spot, and I don't see them going that one step further in 2022. Top 3 time, and now we get to the teams who I think are either who I'm tipping to win the comp or I think are genuinely within the realm of winning Super League in 2021. And unfortunately, there are 3 teams left. They are the only 3 teams currently in Super League who have won a Super League title before. So a bit boring, but that's just how it is. In third, the Leeds Rhinos. James Bentley, Aiden Caesar, Blake Austin, and David Fusatua. 4 really good signings. That Super League winning experience from Bentley. You've got the partnership of Caesar and Austin coming back together. Both have been in good form since coming to Super League. Both nearly took Canberra to a grand final in 2016 as a halves partnership. I really like them getting back together here with Leeds. And Fusatua as well, known as a bit of a try-scoring machine, had a couple of purple patches over in the NRL with the Warriors. Of course, COVID has interrupted that a little bit and his playing time as well. But I feel like they're contenders, arguably the best business that has been done by any Super League team heading into 2022. Not tipping them to win the comp. Not tipping them to... I don't know what the grand final will be, but I'm not tipping Leeds to win the comp. I think they can probably get as far as the grand final, but got them in third. On to the Wigan Warriors now, who will be disappointed that they couldn't go one step further from 2020 and 2021, especially when they came so close in that 2020 grand final. Probably would have been the expectation for them to win the comp, at least within their own camp in 2021. They'll be thinking the same for 2022. NRL talent they brought in, such as Cade Ellis, Patrick Mayo, and Cade Cust, who is actually going to be my pick for Man of Steel in 2022. Through the injuries and through players being ahead of him at Manly, I don't think he's gotten a proper crack. In 2020, in just about every game he played for Manly, he was their best player, in my opinion, of course. I think in Super League, with that structure, he can sort of run a bit of a muck, be a good replacement for Jackson Hastings. And if I have to tip anyone to sort of be the next Jackson Hastings and end up back in the NRL in a prominent position because of how they did in Super League, I'm tipping Cade Cust. I'm really getting behind this guy. Cade Cust as well, I think, has a clause in his contract at Wigan where Manly get first dibs at signing him back if they want to, or it'll be easier for Manly to sign him than any other NRL club at the very least. That shows how much Manly still values him. I guess you could say they see something in him. They see a future in the NRL still. I'm tipping in for Man of Steel in 2022, a point to prove. But I've got Wigan in second, so no league leaders shield for them. Possibly a Super League title, though. In first place, it's boring. It's the team that's won Super League the past 3 seasons straight. Tipping them to take home the League Leaders Shield, in fact, in 2022 as well. And I'm tipping them to do the four-peat. It's crazy. In this Super League era, it's been dominated so heavily by Leeds, Wigan, St. Helens, and I'm going to say it, my boys, the Bradford Bulls, who are currently in the championship. But, hey, glory days are coming back. It's crazy that we are yet to see a four-peat in the Super League era. I don't think we have, but this is the best chance we've had, maybe. The lead side in the mid-2000s might have been able to do it, but they didn't. I think it might happen this year. In fact, I'm tipping it to happen. St. Helens to win the League Leaders Shield and Super League in 2022. That consistent rollover of talent. I know James Bentley's left the club, but they've sort of kept that core. They've kept the majority of the players they need there. Theo Farge has also left the club. It is important to note. But as I look here at how St. Helens line up for 2022, they're bringing in the likes of Conrad Hurrell, Will Hopewadi, Curtis Sirenen, Joey Larsick, and James Bell as well. All got NRL experience. Conrad Hurrell, a bit of a stalwart for the past couple of years at Leeds. He's got that Super League experience as well. Will Hopewadi at his best, one of the better centres, I would say, in the NRL. Curtis Sirenen had a bit of issue with injury last year. A couple of years ago, once upon a time, he was in New South Wales State of Origin selection conversation. Joey Larsick, Super League experience, Super League Grand Final experience against St. Helens for Southern in 2019. A decent replacement for Reid Marnie in 2021. James Bell as well from the Leeds Centurions, a bit of that NRL experience with the Warriors in that NRL system and experience in Super League as well with Lee. So there you have it. That is who I am tipping to win Super League in 2022. St. Helens. I'm tipping them to win the League Leaders Shield. And just quickly to go over it, from 12th to 1st, this is my 2022 Super League ladder predictions. And 12th, unfortunately being relegated, TOULOUSE. 11th, SALFORD. 10th, WAKEFIELD. 9th, HUDDERSFIELD. 8th, Hull FC. 7th, CASTLEFORD. 6th, WARRINGTON. 5th, Hull KR. 4th, CATALANS. 3rd, LEEDS. 2nd, WIGAN. And 1st, St. Helens. There we have it, guys. Make sure you like this one, share with your mates, subscribe to Rugby League in My Opinion on YouTube, and comment below, at the very least, who you think will be winning the Super League title in 2022. And also, if you're willing to, chuck your 1 to 12 there as well. I'll give it a little bit of a look over. But other than that, I'll see you next